Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am the stepson of Krypton,
And I'm Mantis.
and today we are discussing the. Obviously, there's been a lot of news with the Superman legacy now being cut down to the Superman. Well, not the Superman, just Superman.
Superman.
You get it, all right? Just move on past it. Superman. Um, there's a lot of rumors right now swirling around about what the plot is going to be about. So, um, you know, they finally announced. I think as of now, we're not having any other heroes, villains
I
uh,
think you're
added.
right because they've already started filming. So I would assume if they did, they would have already announced it.
So I think the last we finally got the villain. If you watched, maybe it's not out yet. I'm going to avoid saying that in case they haven't released the video yet. But where they did release the actual who the villain of the movie's going to be, being the engineer. So she's going to be, the villain. We've done a whole discussion on it as far as. It's just James Gunn being James Gunn, right? He goes out there into those random weird places, but with all of this, because obviously we're going to have the old cast of Clark Kent slash Superman, Lois, you got Lex Luthor, we've got Hawk Girl, we've got Green Lantern, we've got Mister Terrific, Metamorpho, we've got of course Jimmy Olsen, all them, Otis, all that. We got
Mhm.
Maxwell Lord, James Gunn's brother's playing. Is his brother Sean Gunn?
uh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it is. Yes, brother playing
Sean
Maxwell
Gunn,
Lord.
yeah.
And then obviously in January they announced that Millie Alcock was playing a Supergirl from Game of Thrones, the new
Mhm.
House of the Dragon series.
Yep.
That's a lot of people in a what's just supposed to be a Superman movie, right? So there's been a lot of speculation behind what is this story going to be.
Yeah, because again, we know it's not an origin story. Okay, so we'll get that out of the way. And the origin stories tend to be very limited on characters because you're trying to focus on the main character, explain them, so you're devoting a lot of time, right? In this movie, so far, what we've heard, that's not the case. So if they're going to jump into it with, again, Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, you have Supergirl in there, a lot of these characters, um, there's there's lots of speculation and rumors. Um, from I don't know if it's from sources or just based upon intuition from these people that are following this very closely, as well as watching who's cast, like we're doing. That and this is just from the article that I'm going to read from you right here. This is from a Tech Radar article. It says, Gunn categorically said his Superman movie would begin with Kal-El already living on Earth, adding there will be no retreading of old ground when it comes to his well-known backstory. Hell yes. Again, we've said this before. It's a pet peeve of mine that we don't need a fucking Krypton scene. We're fine. Okay. Meanwhile, the director, James Gunn, said on Instagram in early March that the Superman movie was seeking inspiration from Mark Wahlberg and Alex Ross's Kingdom Come, and I'll let you expand on this. A 1996 Elseworlds miniseries. It's interesting they're bringing Elseworlds into this because we already have kind of some Elseworlds movies already in DCU. Um, where it's apparently a small run, four of them that showed where kind of Clark was just kind of done with it all, and he was retired. Came out of retirement with several other members of the Justice League. Keep in mind of who's cast in this movie. Okay. And put a bunch of a new, like, I guess, another anti group, and like supervillain group, kind of that's who is uh, uh, the protagonist or the antagonist is in the mini series, right? Um, and I'm sure that I guarantee you know more about this than I do about the Kingdom Come storyline. Would you like? Could you expand on that, or maybe I'm speaking out of turn?
Well, let me take it first because I don't know how everybody is with knowing the storylines from the comics and all of that. I feel like sometimes I go into it, maybe it's going down a rabbit hole and people haven't read this, but let me take it to we mention a lot of times on here we talk about the DC through the Arrowverse, right? So in the Arrowverse, there is a actual they do a whole timeline of they do a crossover event that is called Elseworlds. Okay. However, in their next crossover event where they do Crisis on Infinite Earths, they actually travel to the Earth where Brandon Routh, who played Superman in Superman Returns, he plays Kingdom Come Superman.
It's actually one of the least insane things I've ever heard. First, stay and face Luther.
Kingdom Come
Mm,
Superman had in that storyline had been similar to like an Injustice where the Joker had actually gassed the Daily Planet and killed Lois, Jimmy, Perry. He killed
oh
most
God.
everybody. And he was kind of he was done. He'd kind of given up. But in the uh, Crisis on Infinite Earths with the CW, they portrayed it as he continued on, right? They didn't go that story route. And that's why he was one of the paragons of hope, because no matter what, even though he lost everybody he loved, he persisted on. So they take it a little bit differently, but I feel like because it's in a TV show form, it might be a little more palatable for people. But
Mhm.
that's how they do Kingdom Come, and it's weird that they did Kingdom Come Superman it, outside of the Elseworlds timeline, where they actually do the Elseworlds crossover in the CW as well. So definitely something I think everybody should go and check out. I kind of like the idea of him being more hopeful. So the way the CW had done the Elseworlds, where he hadn't given up hope, because in the comic book Elseworlds, yeah, he's kind of done. Um,
I I'm gonna jump in here because again, from this article and even what James Gunn has said, um, speaking to Variety in April 2023, Gunn confessed to wanting a protagonist, obviously Superman in this case, who you want to give a hug. And this kind of leads me to believe what you're talking about in the classic Elseworlds, where he's just done with it. Like he's checked out, right? Like it's not he doesn't want to deal with the shit anymore. He's it's too much for him to deal with. And it sounds like that's the way they're going to go, at least according to what James Gunn has said.
Yeah, I know. For me, it was exciting to see the Kingdom Come Superman logo, and that's how you knew if you watch
Mm,
the Elseworlds on the CW. I definitely think it's worth a watch, even if you don't want to watch all of the shows in their entirety. That's a lot of seasons to get through. But he has the red S, but it's a black symbol. It's a red and black. That's it, a symbol.
well,
Very very distinct lines. There's no curve. It's all
mhm.
jagged. It's a like I said, it's different in the comics. Now, to be fair, I will also say this, and this is the problem I have with the comics where they're going right now. There's actually a couple of different storylines in the comics on the Kingdom Come Superman. So, and I think part of that's where the CW had pulled some of their inspiration from, because you have different writers that write some of these things. So I know some people will say,
Right.
no, in the comics it was this way. It was actually kind of they've done
Both,
Kingdom Come Superman
maybe
actually a
multiple.
couple of different ways. Um, so
That's what
it
I was
really
wondering
just
because
depends.
if
Go ahead.
is Kingdom Come, is he older?
Yes.
See, now that wouldn't line up to what James Gunn said. It doesn't say he's old in what the releases that we've seen. It just said he's been on Earth a while.
So, and again, let's go back to the show first. I'll address that in the show in the Crisis on Infinite Earths, when they go to Kingdom Come Superman. There, he has graying in his hair, which for anybody who
That's
knows,
what's
Superman lives substantially longer than any normal human. So he's put in some time. Now, to be fair, it wasn't set in a futuristic, so you don't know exactly how much time, but he is older. And that I've not now personally, I'll say, and if it's out there, guys, you can let me know. You don't have to be asses about it, but you can let me know. Like, I've not read a storyline of Kingdom Come Superman where he is younger. And my
Mhm.
problem with the cast that he's assembling is they all look like, David
Look
Cornsworth,
younger.
he looks very young. So I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, have
Right.
you been Superman for like a year and a half and you're done? He's like, you know what? Like,
Right.
man, this year sucked. Like,
That's
like,
that's what doesn't quite align with the Kingdom Come aspect of it. I'm not saying he's not going to be a case where he's maybe downtrodden of trying to be Superman as a teenager and he's done with it. But the Kingdom Come aspect seems like he's been Superman for a while and he's just done with being Superman as an older as much as he's seen, right? And then he needs to come back with the Justice League and fix these issues. I just some of the things just aren't lining up as far as casting, as well as leaks, as well as what he's actually said, like is going to happen. Just some of these things don't seem to line up.
so it's weird because, I feel like if you were going to do Kingdom Come Superman, I would have left the title as Superman Legacy, right? Like, because you're talking about kind of going back, of again, he's been Superman. Now I'll also say I feel like Henry Cavill's Man of Steel Superman fit more of the Kingdom Come. Like, he was out of place, like he didn't know
Mhm.
where he fit into the world, right? Because he doesn't understand
Right.
the world around him. He wants to do good, and he's got his Earth dad saying you may have to let some people die to avoid being discovered and all this.
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
So I feel like
Mhm.
that has more of a king. Like, he's just done, right? Like, he doesn't know, especially like with what happened when Lex blows up the Capitol and he's blaming himself. I feel like there he's like done, right?
Mm.
Bringing a brand new character and already having the Superman over this ship, like, fuck, Earth must suck, man. He's just ready
So
to be.
that's what I'm just like. It doesn't quite make sense. One with the casting, as well as you wouldn't think that you would do a storyline of Superman as your first entrance into a reboot of the entire universe as being an older Superman. It just doesn't make sense to me.
And that's where I feel like we're getting a lot of. I think people are letting, and there are people who know a lot more about this than obviously we do. We're obviously avid fans, but I'm not dissecting every single frame of a trailer that comes out or every word
Right.
in a news article and all of that stuff like some people do. And you know what? I applaud those people. You help make our job easier, right? Because they've done they research way
Right.
more into this than they probably should. Not judging, but that stuff. But I think those people they're breaking down this and like, oh, well, this kind of fits more with this, and this kind of fits more with this, and this seems more like Injustice. This seems more like Kingdom Come. This seems more like Golden Age. I feel like he's throwing so much out there just to keep us fucking confused. Like,
Could
but
be.
it
He's
keeps the
not
hype
dumb.
up. You know.
It does. Yeah, yeah. The mystery is intriguing. This is what women love a mysterious man because it's attractive, right? Same thing goes with movies. Like if you don't quite know what's going on, it's interesting. Like you want to figure it out. And humans are very curious, right? So these things attract us. And it makes sense with movies as well. And James Gunn's not dumb. He has a publicist, he has a secretary and probably a social media manager as well. Probably has a team of them aligned with DC to put these things out. Which brings me to my next thing about, and we kind of saw this on the background from the previous video, but they had released a pic, or James Gunn had released a picture of the suit with some snow around it, and
Part
it
of
was
the
confirmed
S.
that they start part of the yes, that they had commenced filming in Norway for the movie, which is very interesting because you think Norway's cold, icy, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, but it does seem like that's what comes to mind when I think of that, and also come to mind with Superman as ice and snow is the Fortress of Solitude. Um, I'm assuming that's what they're filming in the ice for, or the snow. So we can probably It's safe to assume that we're going to get some Fortress of Solitude scenes in there with him there, either leaving or going there, or just maybe he's hanging out talking to his space dad. Who's I wonder if they do that, who's going to play Jor-El? That'd be interesting to find out. So who knows
So
at this point?
now, in one of these articles, it does say, it's highly unlikely that Gunn's Superman film will be a beat for beat retelling of Kingdom Come, right?
Mhm.
There's also predictions that basically has to help Superman has to help out his battle hardened superhuman friends, like Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, and all of them
Mhm.
rediscover their protection based sense of purpose, right? That's what it says. Now, when you read that, and when I think about we talk about Kingdom Come, right? Yes, there's no way they're going to do a complete retelling of Kingdom Come Superman with somebody who looks as young as David Cornsmith does, because
Yeah,
yes, he looks in his early
it makes no
20s, and
sense.
that's what Gunn's going for, right? However,
Yeah.
imagine this: he's a relatively new Superman, right? He's new, but he makes a big mistake. And he decides to hang it up, like he's ready to hang it up. But then his superhero buddies, Mr. Terrific, Hot Girl, all them, they're coming in and saying, "Hey, we need your help. You got to realize, there was nothing you could do, whatever." And they help him rediscover his humanity. Maybe it is like he made an early on big mistake, and like he's struggling to come back, to bounce back, right? This is his growth. That gives
Mhm.
you a character arc, right? Or yeah, he's going
Yeah.
to start out like, we're not getting an origin story, because we're going to start out where he doesn't want to be Superman, so then he goes to the fortress, and that's where the symbol comes in. Maybe he starts with like the older classic type of Superman suit, and then he goes to the fortress, and he does his training, or he learns from Jor-El, and all the other superheroes kind of help him, and he gets the new suit. How
Could
odd would
be,
it
yeah.
be? How odd would it be? I'm glad this is being recorded, because if that ends up being the plot, boom, there you go. I spoiled it for you a year in advance, but something like that, I could see that, where you're taking some elements of Kingdom Come, you're taking some elements of Golden Age, you're just kind of mixing it all together, right? And that gives you basically
Yeah.
an infinite line to go wherever you want to, in whatever direction.
That could be very possible. I think they'll probably introduce him at the Daily Planet. This is just me speculating. I assume he would. Maybe it's his first job. He's getting there because, like you said, he's early 20s, mid to early 20s. So maybe he's getting his first job as a reporter. Introduces Lois as the character. They're not together yet. He may be just a friendly reporter with Lois. But that's the level that it is at this point in the story arc of those two. And you mentioned all these other characters. How does this introduction of all these other characters in the very first main superhero movie in the DCU set up the rest of the DCU? Like, because again, you're introducing a lot of characters in this movie. One being Supergirl, which we talked about, Millie Alcock. Um, and you know, there's been a couple of updates between the Supergirl movie. We know she's getting her own film.
And I will say this real quick: they know how all of you are on the internet. Crypto will be in there, because everybody loves
Yep.
dogs, especially if we see a crypto puppy. Everybody will
Oh
lose
yeah.
their shit. And it's going to be a golden
There's
retriever. It's going to be a golden retriever, right? It's just, that's, and actually, I think
Yep.
he was in Smallville too. I think Crypto was a golden
Yeah.
retriever. Um,
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Yeah, no. There's confirmation from updates of the Supergirl solo film that from, I guess, the writer for the script, Anna. I'm not going to pronounce her last name because I'm going to butcher it. Said that Crypto, the Superdog, would accompany Kara in the solo movie. If she shows up in Superman, which obviously she has been cast in that, so that's happening. That's going to lay the foundations of her character for the solo flick. Is it going to be a cameo? We talked about this briefly. But there's also other, and I don't want to go into the authority because it kind of infringes on our other video that we kind of discussed, the possible, at least one of the villains. I don't know if it's going to be a multi-villain type movie for them, because there's a lot of superheroes in this movie for one villain. Just saying.
So here's the thing, real quick, and I'll link the other video where we discussed about his the villain of the Superman movie. So when he talks about the Authority, they're not, and the engineer who is going to be the villain for this movie wasn't necessarily a bad girl, because she's female. And the Authority, it wasn't necessarily like this evil entity group. They're a group that was not too far off from like the Green Lantern Corps, but they also don't like the Green Lantern Corps. Right? They don't think the Green Lantern Corps should be in charge of the universe, and that's where the Authority come in, which is interesting because Guy Gardner is going to be in this movie. So, are they setting up a bigger storyline for a fight between the Authority and the Green Lantern Corps?
Could be. Yeah.
So you got to wonder again. So maybe take away the Kingdom Come aspect of it, because like, is he coming into as a Superman? Like, he's going to become Superman with all of these, like, they, the article had said all these already battle hardened heroes to help them, or is he going to be the battle hardened one and all these heroes come in? Because the battle hardened one, if the heroes are already battle hardened, like Mr. Terrific and all them, then you got to go and do a backstory origin, right? You got to go back in time. And that's dangerous. We've talked about this many times. When you go back in time, now, if you do it on the first video, that's fine, right? Well, let's say you have this movie, and then the very next one's their origin story, and you go back. You're safe there. You can't do a Captain Marvel where you're like, 20 films in, we're going to go back and fuck everything up. So you're safe if you do it, but it is still a risky fucking thing to do.
I'm with you, because then it's kind of set in stone and you have to do some weird shit, like some crazy shit to get out of it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I think you
I like
pigeonhole
doing that.
yourself, right? Like, I think if you're gonna do that, you tie yourself to something, and there's so much room to mess it up. I'm like, no, like, it would make sense to have these heroes and not know anything about them, do an origin, but don't have to go like, oh, they're battle hardened. They went through this, they went through this. So yeah, I don't.
Right. And there's like, kind of, you talking about Nathan Fillion and Green Lantern Corps and the Authority fighting. That totally makes sense. Because in that article they were talking about that Gunn suggested via threads that Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner would appear in one of the Gods and Monsters TV show. It's also plausible that this movie, the Superman movie that we're talking about in this case, is kind of like, along with Kara, kind of a launching point for her solo film, but also the Lantern Corps, Lantern
coming on HBO Max or Max.
Yeah. So it's it's a totally plausible thing that they're going to use this as a launching pad for a lot of the content that they have planned for the DCU.
Now, see, that would make sense if you said, okay, we're not going to, like, obviously you have the engineer as the main villain for the Superman movie, but then you kind of find maybe as a post-credit or somehow throughout the movie, just little threads that she's with the Authority, and then that launches for the Lanterns, and they're going to be the overarching villain throughout the entire season, right, is going to be them combating the Lantern Corps, combating the Authority. That would be a good setup.
I'd be cool with that. Yeah, that sounds interesting for sure. It's something that's not been introduced. It's not mainstream. It's a little, I don't want to say it again. We need, because I haven't said this because we don't have a counter in this video, but it's kind of fringy.
He said it. He said it.
And
I told you I was going to add a fringe. Like, I was going to add a counter.
I know.
And now, to be fair, guys, real quick, like, if you watch our fringe Superman fringy versus cringy, where we discussed where they actually renamed the Superman movie from Legacy to this, I told you guys I was going to name that video Superman fringy versus cringy, and I did. I was true to my word. It's up on our channel. You can go watch it. You should go watch it. It's a good video right now, but I can't do a counter now because that's, well, I guess I've said it once, you said it, so I can do two.
Yeah, that's fine.
Really worth it.
It's fine. But again, I guess we're kind of going, we're listlessly floating in space here. We can talk about final thoughts. I know your voiceover is going to be better.
Yeah, I don't know that I
So,
can deepen that one to make it sound. I tried to actually
no
sound a
thanks.
little demonic on mine, but thanks. And when to call me out, like, yeah, I could tell it was you. Like, thanks a lot. Let's see if I ever do that again. But final thoughts on this. I'll berate him for that off camera on this. I think right now there's too many rumors out and about to really know what the plot is, and I think that's what he wants, right? That's what building hype is, because we're all trying to guess, we're all investigating, and you watch things more closely, right? When the first teaser trailer releases for this, we're all going to be fucking scouring that like Sherlock Holmes, like man, what was that? What was that? What was that little? If you zoom in right here, like
Yeah.
we're all going to be watching for it, man.
One frame. There's like this light blinding off this object. I think it could be, it's like, yeah, you're right. I think my instincts in this is to wait and see what we actually know. And what we have facts are who's cast. They've already started filming in Norway. These are things that we know for sure. We know it's going to include all of these extra superheroes, right? And the normal, Jimmy Olsen, Perry White, all these characters. So, and Lois Lane, obviously. So I agree. I think speculating it could be something they do with with these the fringy stuff, but I think it's best to kind of wait to see exactly where he goes with it. And we'll hear more within the next 6 months. Obviously, once the filming continues, there will be, I'm sure, like we talked about, they got good media teams, they got good social media teams and marketing. They're going to put out little teasers here and there to keep the hype up as through filming, which is fine with us because we need content. So we're here for it.
Now, I will say, guys, what we will do. So there are a couple of very, very trusted sources that we get our information from. Now, I know Mantis has mentioned Variety on several of those, but
Don't
realistically,
go to that one.
that's do what? Yeah,
Yeah,
if
don't
you
go to
watch
that
our
one unless
last
you want
video,
some
don't go to that
viruses.
one. Don't go to that one at all. Even though I don't know that he was going to Variety, he could he's being a little sus. But usually there are only a couple of sources we go to, and most of what we report to you guys is things that we're getting straight from James Gunn. Now, not personally through Twitter, we don't have a direct line to him. I don't have a red phone
I
sitting
wish
here
I
I can just
did.
pick up and right. I'll tweet him and see what happens. I've never actually tweeted anybody before, but hey, fuck it, we'll try it for the channel here. But we're gonna try to bring you we're not gonna do a video on every single rumor that ends up coming out, just because there's gonna be so many people putting out things saying, "Oh, hey, here's this teaser," or "Here's this," and it's not fucking true, and we don't want to bring you out fake news. We're not CNN. I may have to cut
So
that.
we say this is rumors.
Yes,
This whole video is
rumors.
rumors, by the way.
But we wanted to do this video. The reason why we're doing it is because of, it got us thinking, and this is kind of our thoughts on it, right? So when we look at this character, this cast list, and everything else like that, but we aren't going to do separate videos on every single rumor that happens to come out, because we'll be doing videos every freaking day of our lives, and I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Plus, we don't want to bore you with that. We want to bring you the information on the actual true stuff. So as James Gunn is releasing it, as we're getting information from the studios and things like that, we'll be bringing you those.
We mainly get our news from James Gunn, Luther News Network.
I am your host, Haywood, and with me in the studio, as always, is Jack. And this is Luther Network News, your only source for fair and unbiased news.
Only the trusted sources that you all like and that we know are exactly the truth bringers. So
yes, the Ellen news there, you can trust that they do honest and fair reporting, and we actually have one of their videos up on our channel
we
that you
do.
can watch. And
Yeah.
it's fair and honest depictions of everything going on in the superhero world. I think you should check that out. So if you have made it this far with us, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Please consider liking this video. I'll put that right over your fucking head. And subscribing to the channel for more content, checking out all the videos we do have. I'm in the process of trying to organize the chaos for you guys, because we do have quite a few videos on there that you should check out. And hit the little bell button and all that kind of bullshit, just so you get all these, because again, we're getting flooded with with articles and things, constant alerts, and I'm like, dude, how are we going to do all these videos? So there's a lot of information coming out right now, and it comes out in waves. So
Mhm.
hit the notifications, that way you will get notified of the newest videos, because we're trying to bring this information out as soon as we possibly can for you guys. Comment down below. We do appreciate all of our new subscribers, all of our old subscribers, and all the comments that you guys have left us. Thank you very much. You guys are the reason we do this channel, because we don't make any money from it. We don't have any sponsors. So we do it for you guys just because we enjoy it, and we hope you do as well.
Yeah. We like the engagement. So make sure you comment down below. Also, I'm going to do a shameless plug here. And I know Cal has got his channel coming online soon. We do have 2 sub channels coming online for some streaming and gaming stuff. So check that out if you're interested. It's a sub channel of Yumi and DC. Currently, I'm running through the Final Fantasy Rebirth series, and I know Cal is going to start here soon, as soon as we get some logistical technical things squared away. We're trying to figure out how to best do this, because I don't like half-assing some of this stuff. So we're trying to figure out the best way to bring you the best quality content as we can. So be on the lookout for both of those channels. We'll put links in there. There should be links on our channel for those. But we'd really appreciate it, not only liking and subscribing for this one, but check out those. If you like it, hang around. If you don't, that's fine too.
I have no clue what he's talking about with the gaming channel. I know he's got one. I don't know what he is crazy. You sound insane right now.
You sound insane. Do you realize that?
Sorry, a little bit of gaslighting. No, yes. So Mantis' channel is already live, guys. I want to try to get mine up and going here in the next few weeks. I've got quite a bit on my plate right now, so I don't know when that is. But Mantis is channel is live. Go check that out. The game's amazing. The channel's amazing, and watching him do the playthrough there makes me feel a little bit better about what I was playing through, because I was like, oh, he did the same thing. So go check that out, definitely, for sure. All right, guys. And I think that will do it for this episode. So we keep it a little bit shorter. Until then, we will see you on the next one.
Later.